everybody, I'm Jackie with Jackie's Wreaths and Things. Today I want to show you another version of the angel wings using the angel wing board from Unique at the Creek. First thing I want to do is I'll zoom in on the zip tie placement so that you can take a screenshot of how I put the zip ties in. So let me just flip this over. All right, let's get started. So I might be wrong, I haven't seen anybody else do this fold, but we're going to call it the angel wing fold. Okay, you're going to need 2 rolls of 10-inch mesh. You're going to need some zip ties. These zip ties are about 8 inches long. You don't really need them that long. 6 inches will do. And what I did here is I put gold on the outside. So you'll need a total of 18 pieces of the gold to go on the outside. So let's get started. So I'm going to turn my board and I'm going to get it out of the way so I can zoom in and show you the fold. So what you're wanting to do is you want to fold corner to corner, like so. If you're very new at this, you might want to just use fabric mesh. I've got fabric mesh over here that I'm going to use. I'm using a combination of a heavy foil and fabric mesh for mine. And then you're just going to come to this corner, ruffle it up, and then when you go to place it in, you're going to flip it over to hide your fold. Now when you put this in so they lay properly, we're going to start from the top of the board and go down. Once again, corner to corner. Fold just one corner down. Ruffle it up. And flip it over to put it in. Now what I'm making sure to do when I do this is I want my mesh tilted up a little bit. So that's what I'm trying to make sure that I'm doing as I go, that my mesh is kind of tilted up so it doesn't curve around too much at the bottom. Fold it over in half, corner to corner, one side, corner to corner, ruffle it up, flip it in. You want to make sure that you're being consistent on the amount of mesh that you're putting in your zip ties. Once again, corner to corner, flip it over, ruffle it up, flip. All right, I'm going to zoom out now so you can see the overall picture, and I'm going to get to working faster on this so that you can see this come together. So I chose to do the gold on the outside just to give this a different appearance. And then you're going to want to come back and cut all your zip ties off. If you have nippers or a zip tie gun, that would probably work the best. So the next thing I'm going to do is I kind of use two different whites to make the transition from super shiny to a little bit less, and I just kind of alternated them, so not a big deal. So I'm going to start with my fabric mesh, and as you can see, the fabric mesh folds a little bit easier, so definitely if you're a beginner, you might want to grab some fabric mesh. And then I've got this, and it's got a little bit more shine to it. Like I said, I just kind of wanted to make a transition, mix things up a little bit. Why not? Let's be creative. The last thing I'm going to show you once I get all the mesh in is I'm going to show you how to attach a rag bow in here without using a bow maker. Not everybody has a bow maker, so I try to show you how to do some of these things without using a bow maker, and it just happens to be pretty easy when you're using the Unique and the Creek board because you have something to anchor your bow onto and work on. I'm really loving how this came out. I was trying to create something for Christmas and really do an angel wing with some elegance. I recommend that if you're new at this and you're trying to practice and everything to get good at making these folds, you can use poly burlap as well. It's just kind of easier because if you're not familiar with working with mesh, they fold more like folding fabric. So now we're going to go, and I'm going to tuck my mesh in because actually the layers of the mesh help secure my next row in better, I feel. So now we're just going to use the straight up fabric mesh now that we made the transition. Now it's getting closer. I think I'll cut as I go. Just about done, just a few more pieces. Let me show you the fold again one more time. Let me zoom in so you can get a good look. Might be easier to see on the fabric mesh. But you're going to fold your mesh corner to corner, like so. Then you're going to bring this corner to that corner like so. And just ruffle it up. Flip it over so that your fold is not showing. And then put it in your zip tie. One more time, just so you can see it really good. Corner to corner. Pull this corner in. Ruffle it up. If you haven't ever seen all the choices of boards that are offered by Unique in the Creek, it's really cool. They have a lot of different ones that they offer, and they are perfect for the novice wreath maker, and they're perfect for the advanced wreath maker. They have character boards, rail boards, all kinds of different boards. Go checking them out, uniqueinthecreek.com. Our last 3 pieces for the center. And then we're going to make the rag bow. So don't panic about the center here, because we're going to cover that up with our rag bow. So I'm going to flip my board over. I'm going to stick a pipe cleaner. The reason I'm using the pipe cleaner is because the holes go left to right, and we really need the to go up and down to tie the rag bow in place as we go. I'll show you what I mean. So here's our pipe cleaner, and we're going to twist it so it goes the way we need it to go, up and down like so. If you have a hard time getting hold of pipe cleaners, you might want to use something like tinsel tie. You can also make your rag bow with a bow maker. I have several tutorials doing that. But for those that can't make a bow make, don't have a bow maker and stuff, well, let's include y'all too, right? So the first thing you need to do is decide how big you want your bow. And how much tails you want and how long you want them. So probably for this project, we're probably going to cut some of these tails off. So I'm going to set my tails in here first, alternating my 2 colors that I have, which is red and green. In your rag bow kit that you can either get at Tiff's Rip and Dip, you will get 9 pieces of each color. And I'm just centering these up. Oops, I probably should have put the green first. What do we think? Yep. Now, I don't think this needs as much tail as a typical rag bow, nor does it need to be as big as a typical rag though, because the focus is mostly on the angel wings, right? I'm just trying to make sure that I center my pieces. And I'm just tying it once to hold it because I don't want to put too much bulk in there, so my bow won't sit too high. So I kind of want my bow tails to go from here to here, slightly in a little bit, because after all, the main focus is the wings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just loop this in like so, measure, do the same, loop this in and measure. So that's my guideline for the bottom. So let's see how big our loops are. And they are 4-inch loops. So I'm going to hold this piece just like that. And I want this tail to go that way, so I'm going to fold this in. Four inches. And this side in. 4 inches. And even if you want to change, it's pretty simple, just spin this around. Just like that. So the reason that I put the gold is to make it look different, is because there's gold in the fabric. And it kind of gave it, like I said, a little bit more elegance for Christmas. Said I'm just folding it over. And then I'm just going to set it even with the other. If you have clips, you might want to clip it. Four inches again. Go back to red. And now I want my tails to go the other way. I'm just trying to be consistent about the way that my tails go. So this time, because I want my tails to go the other way, I'm going to fold first this way. Like I said, if you've got clips, you can clip it right here to hold it. So I'm kind of aiming these up here this way for a reason, which I will show you. Let me get my last green piece here. Notice that when I'm overlapping, I'm giving a pretty good chunk to my overlap to make sure that I can get that into my pipe cleaner. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to set this here. I'm going to bring this down one at a time. And this is just to make sure that I'm going down the center, and I'm going to ruffle these up because the bow will be easier to fluff. So I'm just wanting to make sure that I have center, and I'm going to squish this up with one hand. Center again. Squish. Does this take a little bit of time without a bow maker? Yeah. But if you ain't got one, you ain't got one. So what? Roll on, craft on. So now we're going to grab this, and we're going to put this into our pipe cleaner, and we're going to give this just a couple of good turns again, like so, and we're going to take and pull all of our tails down because we're done making our tails. So we're going to go ahead and pull them down to our center. And get them out of their way. Like so. So if you have a way to measure, that would be great. But I'm just going to kind of eyeball it here. Because look, the width of my hand, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to go, yeah, that's perfect for a center bow. So I'm just going to use my hand to create the center part of my bow. So I'm just going to do it like this and fold it over for the center. And this will actually create longer tails also, which is going to give it a little bit more texture. So I'm just going to show you how to tie them in as you go. For those that don't want to do it that way. Once again, I'm just going to use my hand, flip, pinch it up. And I'm just going to untwist my pipe cleaner, set that in there. And I'm just pulling my pipe cleaner tight enough to hold my center bow, which it looks like. Let's make it a little bit bigger. It needs to be a little bit bigger. So we're just going to roll that over. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. Just a little bit bigger. That's better. So I'm just tying that in tight enough just to hold it for a second so don't go pulling and tugging. And then I'm going to make my last two tails go to the other side. So I'm just kind of looping it around, catching it, bringing the good side up. And now we're going to tighten that down. Cut the extra pipe cleaner off. You can either put an ornament in the center. There's all kinds of things that you can put in the center to cover up the workings, to finish it off. But just to make this all shiny and pretty, and to pull the silver color back into the center as well, because we did use some silver colored mesh. Let me fluff my bow out here a bit. I'm just going to use a beautiful brooch. It's got a lot of bling to it. And I'm going to go down with the pinning. Go into the fabric, catch it. And pin it. So the angel wings doesn't need a very big rag bow, just a little something to give it personality. This rag bow gives it the Christmas look. You can do shabby chic. There's all kinds of things that you can do with the angel wings. I'm going to add a little bit of personality to mine and make some of these thinner, because that's what I like to do. It really gives a rag bow a little texture. So I'm just going to rip a few of these just to sometimes you gotta clip the ends up. I have no particular way of doing this. I just kind of grab and rip. See how that's adding a little bit more texture, just taking and ripping some of the pieces. That's kind of the goal. And that's my version of the angel wings with a rag bow. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope y'all enjoyed this. Happy wreathing, my friends. Have a great day. Bye, y'all.